14, Kamikaze's Escape Plans. For the next week, Hiccup sat by the barred window, looking out for his father's war party. Toothless came and sat on Hiccup's head. You can see Toothless sitting on Hiccup's head. This was a familiar ritual to both of them, and as it was Hiccup's and Toothless's usual seat when Hiccup was dragon watching at Wild Dragon Cliff. Hiccup would draw and write in his Dragonese book while Toothless perched on his head, one eye shut, the other half open, looking out for careless rabbits or small mice that he could catch. They could sit there for hours on end in happy, companionable silence. Now they sat looking out the window, searching for the boats that were not there. They were being held in a barred tower room high up in the air. The one good thing about being held prisoner was that they didn't have to go outside, because outside it was raining. Not average, kind of ordinary, kind of spitty little rain, but the rain that you only really get in the barbaric archipelago, one of the wettest places on this good green earth. For the whole week it rained and rained and rained, as if the sky above was one big endless bucket of water pouring down without stopping on the poor souls beneath. The Romans are excellent travellers, but they are not really used to this kind of weather. Nobody is. Hiccup watched with interest from his tower window high above as the soldiers' training grounds turned into one big puddly mess of black mud. The consul's heating swim bars overflowed into the horses' exercise ground. The kitchens were knee-deep in water. Even the tower itself seemed to sink a few centimetres as the foundations softened and oozed. One good thing about the rain was that it allowed the screeching dragons being held prisoner in the giant cages down below. It silenced the screeching dragons. Dragons tend to sleep through rain. Those are the Roman soldiers, leaning on their shields and up to their knees in mud. So they put up their wings like umbrellas and sleep underneath them. Inside the tower room, although it was bare, it was at least dry. The young Vikings were allowed to keep their swords and shields to practice for their appearance in the arena on Saturn's Day. A soldier brought them food every day. There was lots of it, although it was all a bit too rich for Hiccup's liking. Pig, stuffed with dormice, stuffed with yucky, stuffed with baby frogs and carbonara, and oysters fried in cream is a bit of an acquired taste. They all refused to eat it when it was fried dragon pie or common old gardens in batter. Toothless hardly ate at all. Hiccup tried to persuade him, but Toothless put his nose up. "Roman food yucky," he said. "Too much garlic. Want some good fish. Want mackerel." Kamikaze carried on with her escape plans. They were all completely crazy. For the first one, she persuaded Hiccup and Fishlegs to help her knit their waistcoats into 2 ropes, and she attached one end of a rope to a fish head and the other to one of the bars in the window. She then spent 3 nights in a row throwing the fish head out of the window, hoping for a passing dragon to catch it. Finally, her patience was rewarded when it was snapped up by a hungry roncal who flew off with it, the roper pulling out the bar in the window before it snapped. Kamikaze squirmed out the window and down the rope, which dangled 20 metres above the ground. She held on for as long as she could, but eventually had to let go, and it landed on a fat soldier playing dice under an umbrella with a dozen fellow soldiers down below. They were then moved to another, supposedly more secure cell on the ground floor. Kamikaze wasn't about to give up with this little setback. No, she spent 4 days tunneling her way out of their new prison with Hiccup's helmet. Unfortunately, the tunnel came out right slap bang in the middle of the consul's bathroom. That is Kamikaze appearing in her tunnel in the consul's bathroom. A naked fat consul screeched for reinforcements, and they were moved back to the tower room again, where the window had been repaired. The third plan was the craziest of all. She ambushed the soldier who brought them their food every day, knocking him out with his own food tray. She was planning to wear his clothes to pass herself off as a soldier. "It'll never work," said Hiccup. "You'll get caught. You're a girl, for starters, and you're only 4 foot high. There are no 4-foot high soldiers. They don't let them in the army." "Oh, you're always bringing up problems." grumbled Kamikaze, putting on the soldier's helmet, which was so big she could hardly see out of it. But let's face it, they're going to be really cross we knocked out one of their men, Hiccup, and pointed out, looking at the soldier, slumbering peacefully in his Roman underwear on the floor. Why don't you face it? Snapped Kamikaze. Look at you staring out the window all day long. Your father is never going to come. Hiccup flinched. He'll come, he said defiantly. Kamikaze had to turn up the sleeves of the soldier's shirt 4 times. The tunic trailed some way along the ground behind her. She looked like a very small military person in a wedding dress. The great Kamikaze will be back home, guys, while you are facing those gladiators on Saturn's Day Saturday. She took 3 steps and fell flat on her face. I love her. There she is. The boys tried very hard not to laugh. With great dignity, Kamikaze got back onto her feet again. She picked up the front of the tunic like she really was a bride. You can't keep a bog bugler under lock and key, she said, taking the keys from the tunic pocket and unlocking the felt cell door. With a final rustle of skirts, she was gone. Hiccup looked out of the window again. He'll come, said Hiccup. Rain was being blown through the window at such a rate that he had been driven from his usual post, but now he peered through the bars, seeking for the sails that were not there. There was only rain and more rain, pouring down relentlessly on the ocean, drumming on the rocks, soaking up the heather and filling up the pockets of the poor sentries as they stood, sandals full of mud, dreaming of Roman sunshine. The wind shrieked across the ocean, up over the grim black cliffs and through the Roman courtyards of the fort. As it came through Hiccup's barred window, blowing in great drenching streams of water, it seems to be answering, but he's late. Kamikaze didn't return that night. Hiccup and Fishlegs wondered with amazement if she really had escaped this time, but the soldier who brought their food very grumpily told them she'd been caught within 2 seconds of leaving the tower and put into solitary confinement for 3 days. And serve her right, the little barbarian, said the soldier, rubbing the lump on his head. 3 days, said Fishlegs excitedly. At least we'll have some peace and quiet round here. Kamikaze's all right, really, said Hiccup. Said Fishlegs, unconvinced, but she's very pleased with herself. She never stops talking. I'm looking forward to a nice, quiet night.